How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
My man Will, got another week of fights in. I know had to put the A's hat on. Yeah.
You're gonna rep the Giants, and might as well rep the A's, who maybe beat the Giants today. I think like 9-3.
9-3. It was pretty close up until the ninth inning, and then shit got out of hand.
Yeah.
Very much like the main event last night that we'll talk about a little bit later. But hey, man, so last week, or not even last week, I think it was on Thursday. Again, we gathered to come up for our UFC 260 picks. And I hope that anybody that listened to our episode did not put any money in on our picks, because we didn't do too well.
Didn't do too well. Did all right.
I mean, if you want to go back and listen...
Hey, it's a passing grade.
To our somewhat shitty... No, they were shitty picks. You could go through, listen last week on Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, also Apple Podcasts, social media. You can find social media through...
Story of the Fight on Instagram and Twitter, and we have a Facebook group chat as well.
Yes, the Facebook group chat is MMA Talk Community by Story of the Fight Podcast, and it's a lot of fun. Chit-chatting back and forth about the fights, sometimes as they're going on, sometimes right after. It varies. But anyways, yeah, man, it's, when we're talking about the picks, I was pretty damn confident going in with, I'd say, 90% of my picks.
Yeah.
I didn't get 90% of them right.
I got 60%, which is like a D, right? That's a...
I mean...
Hey, you're passing,
I guess. So, we're going to try something a little different this week.
Yeah.
Right? But before we get into the main event, moment of silence, I'm guessing, Will?
Yep, moment of silence. This card ended up only having 10 fights on it, and had a lot of big name fights pulled off of it. We had Johnny Walker versus Jimmy Crute was supposed to be on this card. Walker Torres Peck, brutal. Random Marcos was supposed to fight. Fun fight. Jessica Penne versus Hannah Goldie was going to happen, and that's also as we donned it, Battle of the OnlyFans. Your boy Blagoy Ivanov against Marcin Tybura would have been a super fun fight.
Yep.
And then Alonzo Menifield versus William Knight probably would have went longer than the Menifield fight that ended up taking place. Probably would have been a little bit less one-sided, but at least Menifield still got to fight. William Knight, I think, tested positive.
Still got a paycheck.
Yeah. But yeah, moment of silence for those fights. The biggest one, Brian Ortega versus Alexander Volkanovski as the co-main event.
My heart.
Championship fight. Super fun style-wise. Would have been so sick. And Volkanovski tested positive for COVID. So
COVID strikes again. Man, and this card ended up being a fun card.
Oh, dude, top to bottom, fantastic. Imagine
if you sprinkled in some Brian Ortega versus Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Mixing a little Johnny Walker and his crazy antics.
Dude, against a tough dude coming up in the rankings, and Jimmy Crute would have been such a fun fight. And would have been a fun fight in there. Yeah.
Man, but
it didn't disappoint. This is a fight that if I paid money for it, I would have been satisfied with the money.
Yeah. And since you didn't pay money for it, you were uber satisfied.
I was so satisfied. A little heartbroken, but still satisfied.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here. So we have the main event, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic 2. Man, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
Initial thoughts are when there's two guys fighting that I really respect and like both of them and root for both of them, I always end up... It's like bittersweet, right? I'm happy for whoever wins, and I'm sad for whoever loses. And it seems like every single time, the bitter outweighs the sweet. And I'm always more sad for the loser than I am happy for the winner, no matter which way it goes. It's always been that way.
That's how it was for me with DC versus Stipe on the last two fights.
Same thing.
Exact same thing.
For all 3 fights. If all 3 fights,
no, you're right.
I was more sad for the loser than I was happy for the winner. It sucks, and I don't know why. I wish I could address that and just be happy for the guy who wins and be at least happier for him than the loser. And as things kind of go on and stuff, and now we're a day removed from it, it does start to shift that way. I'm definitely super happy for Ngannou. I love Ngannou as a champ. It was always one of those things where he will be champ at some point. It's just a matter of when.
It was inevitable.
Yeah, it was inevitable. The guy's journey and his story is insane. Couldn't happen to a better guy. They'll probably make a movie about his life, Yeah,
Blindside, Part 2.
Just way better. And then with no Sandra Bullock. And
hey, how dare you?
And then, but you can start to get the perspective of, the loser. It sucks because you lose the belt, all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, Stipe's lost multiple times now. This is not anything that he hasn't been through already. It's not like he, you know what I mean? So he's fine. It sucks, but he's fine. Whereas now Francis can start his legacy, right? Really, and it's going to be interesting to see. So yeah, I mean, as we get further removed from it, that starts to change to be more sweet than bitter. But initially, man, the night of, it's just fuck, I just feel so bad for whoever loses in those big fights like that. When I like both of them.
When I first saw it, I think I felt as much heartache as Dana when Khabib told him he wasn't coming back.
I know.
It was just right there, Yeah. And I've always enjoyed watching Stipe. I have so much respect for the guy. What he's been able to do in the heavyweight division against some legends. And I know that there's always some back and forth about, the age of, whether it's Verdum or whoever he was fighting. But he's taken out some of the biggest names in the heavyweight division.
He's got the most impressive resume, at least in the UFC.
He absolutely does. With some of the records that he holds as well. But Ngannou, like you said, couldn't be a better guy. A really good dude. Rags to riches story. It's just living a dream now. Mm-hmm. And he just seems so humble in victory. And the more interviews I hear of Ngannou, man, I'm just man, you almost feel proud for the guy. You don't even know him.
Yeah.
You don't even personally know him, and you just feel a sense of pride.
Because he embodies a storyline that you really only hear about in movies or in written formats where it's it's cool. It's a little bit exaggerated though. It's that's not how life works. All this kind of stuff. But he personifies that. He did that. He's actually living proof that those stories don't need to be exaggerated. Because dude, if you read a book and it was Francis's life up until this point and then it ends with him becoming the champ, you'd be what a great story. But
that would never happen.
That's impossible. Here we are. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, how can you hate on him? I don't think you can really.
And what he showed last night, too. So one of the things that we talked about in last week's episode was we haven't seen very much from Ngannou since his loss to Stipe. Yeah. We haven't seen improved wrestling defense. That he didn't have to. He was knocking everybody out within 30 seconds, it seemed like. I think his longest fight was against JDS, a minute 11 night. Granted, he went 15 minutes against Derek Lewis. But you didn't see much from either of those fighters.
Derek Lewis' back was broken or some shit.
Something, and then at that point, Ngannou's spirit was broken. So it was both of them were dealing with these, breaks. But that takedown defense that he stuffed, the single leg, that was cool. When I saw him transition into Stipe's back, having his back, and hitting him with some bombs from there, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe training at Extreme Couture, maybe he has been learning some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was at that point, I was still, because we're first round, right? And at that point, he wasn't, Stipe was definitely hurt. But I was man, if Stipe survives this barrage right now things get interesting, right? Because now it's how much did he expend or expel from energy-wise, right? And And what's he going to look like as this fight continues if he doesn't put him away right here? And then Stipe got out of it because Stipe's fucking a dog with maybe one of the greatest chins I've ever seen in this fight. Like, holy shit, man! He took shots that murder people. People people get lifted off their feet with the shots he just ate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Rosenstruck was probably pointing at the screen like, what?
Yeah,
what's going on here?
Francis got to be pulling his punches.
Why do you hit me harder? No,
Yeah.
bro.
Dude,
he definitely ate some shots.
Yeah.
But then the patience that Ngannou showed as well was very impressive. He showed maturity in the octagon.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a very impressive performance by Ngannou, man. And I'm sitting here just eating crow, really, because I was saying, Stipe has the recipe. And
he does. He does.
But Ngannou made the necessary adjustments.
Exactly. And that's what you look for, right? Is especially in rematches, is do you make the adjustments? Francis, Stipe can't really make any adjustments going into this rematch because the blueprint that he laid out still looked like, at least from what we've seen from Ngannou after their first fight, his blueprint still was the best blueprint. Francis never showed off anything new that Stipe can look at and say, okay, that's what he's implemented. Here's how I have to adapt to that. He didn't have to make any adjustments because Francis was just knocking everybody out with one punch. So if I'm Stipe, what adjustments do you make? That's like the luxury that Francis had of being tooled for 5 rounds in the first fight and knowing how Stipe fights across these wars and being able to look at his tendencies and what he does, and he can fully game plan, right? Where Stipe really can't make any adjustments. That's not an excuse or anything like that. I'm just saying that the dynamic of adjustments for this fight is interesting like that because Francis made the adjustments, and that's the biggest thing. Skill-wise, he showed that he's improved, right, with the takedown defense, the patience, and things like that. But ultimately, the most impressive part of it is the fact that he was able to make the adjustments needed. That's impressive as hell. That impressed me way more than the actual stuffing of the takedown, him getting to the side back mount and stuff like that. That was impressive as hell, man. I mean, what a performance,
So what's next? I start thinking about if you're Stipe, do you ask for the trilogy fight? Do you let him fight John Jones and then take on the winner of Ngannou Jones?
It's clear that they're not going to give him an immediate rematch.
Which is unfortunate that they're not at least giving him the option.
It's unfortunate. At the same time, I understand it. Francis, it's tricky, man, because you could say Francis didn't get an immediate rematch, but he didn't deserve one, Stipe, you could argue, deserves one because now they're 1-1. He's beaten everybody. He's beaten everybody he's lost to except for Stefan Struve, and only because Stefan Struve never got to the level where he would even deserve a match against Stipe again. But everybody who's beaten Stipe has knocked out. All of his losses he's avenged with knockouts. So the argument's there. It's difficult with the 38 years old, right? He's already kind of talked about retiring and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. If Stipe wants the rematch, then I think he does deserve it. At this point, I don't even know if he wants it, and he doesn't need to decide yet. And if they can't make out the deal with John Jones and Francis beats Derek Lewis and there's no clear contender after that, Stipe might not even have to fight again before rematch. Just because it's not going to be Francis's next fight doesn't mean it's not going to be Stipe's next fight. We've seen way weirder things happen. If that's the logical thing to do, I don't know, but we've seen weirder things, with matchmaking.
Yeah, and we have seen Derek Lewis say that he just wants to stay active. He doesn't care whether it's fighting for the belt or not.
That.
He just wants to be active.
I love that from a champ, dude.
Yeah, I love it. And, man, after he gets dropped by that power jab, Stipe, and he stands back up and he cracks Ngannou with that right. Yeah. And you see Ngannou take a step back and Stipe rushes. So my initial thought was like, oh,
Check
shit,
that.
he just hurt him.
Yeah.
That short hook, dude, it was so clean, so precise. And then you hear Ngannou talk about it afterwards. He's like, no,
I was just
caught me
resetting.
with it. Yeah. And I thought to myself, calm down. Kamaru has been telling me, calm down. So I just, in my head, I told myself, calm down. And I was like, God damn, more improvement from Ngannou.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he got caught and just, he thought to himself in the moment, all right, let me gather myself again. Let me make a calculated move. And because of that, again, I personally haven't seen it from any of Ngannou's fights. So because of that, Stipe probably thought he took a step back. He must be hurt. Rushes in.
And Stipe...
And Ngannou was like, thank you.
Yeah. You hear Teddy Atlas talk about how elite fighters, which sets them apart, and not just elite fighters, but fighters in general, is that they're willing to step into the fire when regular people aren't. Regular people don't walk into that fire. Stipe, obviously, it's like a double meaning because he's an actual firefighter, right? But he cracks. Yeah. He's getting pieced up. He cracks him once, and it's on. He's walking into that fire, and unfortunately, that cost him. But I mean, that's what happens, man. It's a game of fucking milliseconds.
These things happen in MMA.
Yeah, they really do, man. And like I said, absolutely devastated for Stipe. I hate seeing someone that I care that much about get knocked out in that fashion. But, Francis as the heavyweight champ is fucking awesome. Like, awesome.
I blame Machine Gun Kelly.
what was he even like? Bro, I wish I was famous so I could wear V-necks that come down to like here, and everyone's just like okay with it. You imagine if I walked around with that shirt on? People would be like, what the fuck are you doing?
We wouldn't do the podcast anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich the Casual, by the way, Rich the Casual, that was your first MMA prediction, I believe. You are officially 0-1 because you picked Miocic this last episode.
All I can say is I'll be making a comeback. Just wait. Just wait for the next prediction pod.
All right, sounds good. So we'll move on to the next fight. And again, now we're going backwards here. So the co-main event, Vicente Luque versus Tyron Woodley. I want to go and say that I had predicted Woodley was going to lose. You predicted the exact same thing, but by different fashion. I didn't think Woodley was going to come out guns a-blazing like he did in this fight.
No, and you could tell at the bell, right when it started, he took the center of the octagon, threw the overhand right like he always does. And then Luque was able to wrap him up, right, and clinch with him and kind of stall for a sec. They went back at it, overhand right again. And when Luque first clinched him, I was like, oh, no. He wanted to get going, and I wonder if this is going to make him second-guess himself and if he's going to stuff him.
Yeah.
Anytime
like if he's going to revert back to the last 3 fights.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that was not the case. Anytime they were at distance, Woodley was trying to knock him out. This was the Woodley of old. It really was. Man, he fucking cracks when he wants to. He fucking cracks, dude. This is one of those fights where he lost. But fuck, man. I would be lying if I didn't want to watch him again, dude.
Dude, I put down on my notes, if this was Woodley's last fight, better remembering him going out this way than just sitting up against the cage.
Yeah,
if this is
100%.
his last fight ever, the last thing I remember is Woodley being in a dog fight and putting it all out there and trying to take Luque out.
And if it wasn't Luque, probably would have put him out. We talked about how I don't think Woodley's going to be able to knock out Luque with the one shot because Luque he fucking eats punches. Man, dude, the right hand that landed right behind the ear, that flatlines people. Woodley's flatlined people with that numerous times, and Luque just fucking his legs went out real quick, got him back under him, and just kept going forward. It was like, what is this fucking made of, dude? And then
Terminator style.
Yeah, Terminator style, and and then he started cracking Woodley back, and it was like, god damn, and Woodley was fucked up. Man, his legs were gone. Yeah. There was a time where Woodley, he caught him with a slip counter, and Woodley got matadored basically as he was getting hit, and just ran straight into the fence, grabbed the fence
all the way
stay
across.
Up. His knees were locked in place, feet close together, one hand out on the fence, looked back at him like, what the fuck is going on here? And I was like, God damn. And then Luque just patient, but
Woodley,
some people
fired back.
Fired back, yeah. He was in it, man. He was still in it. And Luque, props to Luque. Luque is he's a fucking finisher, man. He's a real finisher because it's
when he smells blood.
He didn't, but he did. It's not just about smelling blood, right? Because you have to smell blood and not go crazy. You can't just blitz in and get crazy because you do that against Woodley, and it's a very good chance you get knocked out. But he just stayed patient, stuck with his game plan, was throwing his combinations in the fire, right? And just kept clicking him. Just that left that ended up dropping him, and then he just got on him, and I was kind of worried at first that he was going for submission. I thought maybe just stand him up, But then you remember when you get dropped and and not just he didn't just get dropped, but he was rocked multiple times before that, right? That takes away like 2 or 3 belts, Like if you're a black belt, you're down to purple, and you don't really know what the fuck's going on down there.
Your brain's probably trying to figure out what the hell's going on right now.
Because Brendan Schaub, not known for his intelligence or anything like that, but he talked about when he fought Travis Brown and he got dropped. They went into half guard, and then all of a sudden he was mounted, and he had no recollection of how he even passed. And I mean, it's easy to say. I saw people already kind of talking shit about Woodley for like online, and me. I was watching it with Coleslaw. Shout out Coleslaw. And when he first set up the Darce, my initial reaction was, Woodley's going to tap to this. I wonder if he left his neck out, and I mean that with zero disrespect, because Chell talks about it all the time, right? Where you're in that position, you leave your chin up just a little bit, and you take that way out, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving up a choke in a situation where you're getting fucked up like that. Anybody who says otherwise is a fucking hypocrite, and they don't know that situation, and they shouldn't even be speaking on it, right? But I thought maybe this is him like giving up a choke, right? No, I don't think it was at all. He would have tapped way sooner. He was doing everything he could to defend it. He was trying to explode out. This was fucking an awesome fight by Woodley, man. He just happened to be on the other side of it.
I was thinking that at first too, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, man, I think he was just trying to peel himself off the canvas. Like when he was on all fours.
Yeah, 100%.
I just think he was genuinely out of it.
Yeah.
Trying to stand up. And Luque, like you said, he's a finisher. Yeah. Saw the opportunity, sank the Darce in. And by the time Woodley started coming to, it was too late.
It's too late.
It was just too tight.
You also,
but he was trying to get out of it.
Yeah, even if you're not rocked, a Darce is a sneaky submission that you really don't expect because it comes from positions where you're normally safe. It's not the most common submission. It's not super rare. It's not a Von Flue choke, but it's still sneaky. And it sucks that this is probably Woodley's last UFC fight, honestly. It sucks.
Yeah.
I think this was the last fight on his contract. We talked about it before, where I wonder if this is the case of going into this fight, we didn't know if he wanted this. You know what I mean? Like, based off his last 3 fights, where is he at mentally? He might just be taking this fight because he's still on the contract that he was at when he was a former champion. He's still sponsored by Monster. He's still getting paid a shit ton of money just to show up. This might just be him fighting out his contract and earning not easy, but paychecks. And now we know that's not the case, and it sucks that this was the last one on his contract, and he's about to be 39 years old. Lost 4 in a row now. It's probably the last time we see him, at least in the UFC. And that's fucking unfortunate, honestly. It's unfortunate.
For sure. I'm sure Bellator will be knocking at his door here pretty soon.
Yeah, most likely.
All right. You want to move on now?
And props to Woodley, man, because he really proved some people wrong in this one. But Luque, man, is a fucking dog. That guy's fucking gnarly. I don't like the call out. He called out Nate Diaz. Stay focused because he has a path,
Yep.
And Nate Diaz is not on that path.
Unless he's just looking to make money and, have some decent fights.
I mean, for Nate or Luque?
For Luque.
Nate's not going to fight Luque. So it's a wasted opportunity. You beat Tyron Woodley, you gotta make right with that call out. You don't shoot your shot at Nate Diaz, who's like, who the fuck are you? And you know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna happen.
All right, so we'll move on. We got Mr. Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. Sean Sugar O'Malley. There you go. You called this fight. You called this one for sure.
That's my boy, dude. Ride or die,
Hey, you know what? I'll give props to O'Malley. Because I was saying, I don't know how much
you had valid concerns going into this.
Mixed martial arts. I just didn't know, and man, did he ever prove me wrong. His footwork, the movement, the constant feints. O'Malley looked so good in there. Mm-hmm. And Almeida looked like he had no idea what to expect next from O'Malley.
Dude, he was frozen. He was frozen on the end of everything that O'Malley was doing. Absolutely frozen.
I didn't like the attempted walk-off at first. Didn't like that.
The first one was he probably shouldn't have. Especially, this is going to sound shitty, but Almeida's been knocked out more than once. You know what I mean? He's a young fighter, but he's taken a lot of damage. And you see fighters like that, they're very susceptible to like flash knockdowns where they get dropped, they're out, their butt hits the floor, they're good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you see that a lot with guys usually later in their career, but also if you've been knocked out more than a few times. But I understand he thought he was done because he hit him with a big shot. The high kick to the left-hand combo is fucking brutal, And he has so much power. He has deceptive power, man, because he's so slick. The first walk-off, not great. Second walk-off, very justified. Very justified.
Dude, that last shot,
shit,
the right hand that came down from hell, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean... And the fuck, what optics of drops him, turns around, walks away as he's kind of like rolling around. He turns around, it's not over, doesn't run over, just walks over slowly and then just lands his shot and then just gets up and then like, holy shit, man, that was.
He's like, is that what you wanted? Poor guy's out. He's out cold. Is that what you wanted?
It was a clean shot, man. It was brutal.
O'Malley looked fantastic, though.
He looked really good. He looked this
really
is
good.
What this is exactly what this is the potential he's supposed to be at. You know what I mean? This is where he's supposed to be. You beat Almeida. Almeida's now won in his last 5 fights. So he beat Almeida. It's not the biggest name on his resume for at the end of his career. This one's not going to be looked at as one of his like big wins, you know what I mean? But I mean that with no disrespect to Almeida, it's just that's how the game works, The stock is not that high as far as a win goes. But what it does do is show you his potential again, because we've seen glimpses of it, right? And but there's been a hiccup, and then we see a ton of glimpses, or not a ton of glimpses, but a ton of potential in the Eddie Wineland knockout. You could argue Wineland is where he's at in his career, absolute legend, but he's been going for a long time. But then we get the Chito Vera fight and more hiccups and questions. And this is just another showcase for him, He did exactly what he needs to do in this fight.
Now, what do you do with O'Malley?
I know. That's where it gets fun,
because
right?
When you take a look at the top 15, there's so many killers on there.
Yeah.
But you can't line them up with another person like Almeida. At this point, I think we got to give him a crack at the top 15.
Yeah, you go. Kyler Phillips would be a very fun fight. That's the fight. Kyler Phillips, that's the fight.
Kyler Phillips?
That's what I want to see. I don't think he has a fight lined up. I know he just won against Song Yadong. I don't know. Maybe he deserves a higher ranked opponent too. I saw Dominic Cruz say he wants to fight him.
Oh dang!
Which is interesting, and you could even argue. I think Cody Stamann has a fight lined up. Jimmy Rivera just lost. He's ranked 11 right now. Not bad. I don't think you do the rematch against Chito Vera.
No, you can't do that rematch.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Jimmy Rivera. Or Sunsao. Sunsao's coming off the knockout against Garbrandt. He's ranked 10th. Fuck it. Jimmy, it's a big step up, right? It's a big step up.
It's a big step up.
Jimmy
and
Rivera,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and a Sunsao are massive steps up. But I mean, fuck, dude, this is not. It's the UFC, you know.
Yeah.
Trial by fire.
And I think that the fights that has gotten O'Malley to 13-1, I think the UFC has taken a slower approach with O'Malley that we've seen with most of their other big stars.
Well, you got to remember, too, he had the weird drug test stuff where he was out for a long time. He injured his foot. He injured his ankle. He's had weird things that are keeping him out. I think if he was able to be more active, we would have seen a more upright ascension. But he's had weird things preventing him from fighting, you know? So I think that's probably why. They definitely do want to protect his brand, though, because you love him or you hate him, but everybody watches when he fights. And if you hate him, you cannot watch that fight and say it wasn't entertaining, because goddamn was it a fun fight to watch, even if you hate him.
And he tries to make it entertaining.
Yeah,
he makes
that's what
it
he's
a
there
point
for,
to try
man.
to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
All right. So
what a fun fight. Also,
it was a fun fight. Get out of here with that shirt. So after that, we got Miranda Maverick and Gillian Robertson.
Another fight we picked.
We did.
We picked this one.
We did. We picked Miranda Maverick on this one.
This fight went very similarly to what I thought it was going to go to. I think I called for a TKO Maverick in the second, but it looked very similar to what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, Maverick was throwing combos over and over and over again. That's what I loved about Maverick in this fight, is that it wasn't just one shot and out. There's just multiple combinations in there, which I think is what led to, you know, her getting the victory.
Yeah. Shitty judging again in this one. So that's cool. That's always fun. Luckily, they got the result right, and that's what ultimately matters. But two judges thought she won the second round, where Robertson put on a grappling clinic.
Yep.
And looked fantastic. I guess the last 30 seconds of the round count in the judges' eyes. But, I mean, you look for Maverick's in that point. We talk about it all the time. Maverick's in the point of her career where you look for questions to be answered. It's like a checklist of things you want to check mark as you watch a fighter in their rise, right? And this is her surviving a dangerous grappler. And she looked like she was in trouble a few times, but got out of it. And actually did some pretty good offensive grappling on her own too. So that's another tick on the boxes, you know. I mean, her striking speaks for itself. You know, that's the one solid that we know is good. And I'm really excited to see what the commentators already talking about a potential title fight with her and stuff, and it's like, let's slow down just a little bit. Her division is fucking gnarly, you know.
She's 23 years old.
Yeah, crazy.
23 years old.
Crazy.
Insane. But yeah, it was nice watching her fight. Robertson, again in that second round, was pretty impressive. I was pretty shocked too. It was two of the judges, right?
Two judges gave Miranda all 3 rounds.
Yeah, a little surprising.
Yeah.
Either way, I think Maverick got it done again with her combination.
Yeah.
So
she won the first and third, so it didn't really matter. But it's still do your fucking jobs, you know.
Now before this fight started, I think that's where we saw the betting experts hop on ESPN. Your boys, Will.
Yeah, my boys. Fucking hate those guys, man. Now, you know, the way that guy fucking talks, dude. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna do this. I'm just saying that with the money that's set up, this is the move to make. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're all numbers guys. They don't know shit about fighting.
It's so funny though, because I was just watching that. I remember watching that part, thinking like, I wonder how much MMA these guys actually watch.
They don't know shit.
Or whether they just pull up stats from each fight, you know, read through what happened through a couple fights, and then make a decision based off that.
Dude, all they care about is making things look appetizing for fans to bet on. That's all they care about. So they don't care about, they don't want people to make the right picks. So they don't care about the analysis of different fighters and stuff like that. You know, all they care about is making people bet on the odds that will promote their businesses. You know what I mean? They want competitive betting, and that's all they care about. So they're going to push these fighters, not because they think it's a good bet. It's because what's going to perpetuate the back and forth on these fights so that we can get as much action as we can, because they're going to make a shit ton of money. Everybody who loses that bet, guess who gets paid? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So fuck them. They're fucking slime bags.
All right. But before those guys, we had Mullarkey versus Worthy. Oh, man. This was one of the fights that we were looking forward to going in.
Yeah, it was a banger of a fight, man.
Yeah, I believe we did say Mullarkey was going to go in here and probably was going to want to prove something.
Yeah.
And we're like, but Khama Worthy's got power. He might leave himself open.
Yeah.
So we were right. But
we were right about a thing.
We were right about how the fight was going to go, but not the result.
Yeah.
So, which is really what matters. And Mullarkey, man, again, showed off the fact that he has a chin.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
And, man.
He's tough as they come, man.
He's super tough. Is that Khama Worthy's second TKO in a row?
In a row.
Second loss.
And not just TKOs, man, but finishes where he doesn't remember where he was or what happened.
Yeah, he was asking Mullarkey's corner what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe he forgot. I think he forgot who his corner was.
Are these my coaches?
He's like, hey, coaches, what happened? And they're like, hey, bro, no. No. So that was pretty that was pretty gnarly. But, dude, Mullarkey, I'm glad he got that win. His first win in the UFC. Again, his first two fights.
It's got to feel great.
Oh, yeah. His first two fights were losses, but he had, shown some wrestling skills in there, and he showed that that he is a very tough fighter.
Yeah.
They could also put on exciting fights, so I'm glad that he got that win.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more from him, man, because, like you said, this is his first win, right? But he's looked nothing short of promising, Mm-hmm. He's someone to look out for, and now that he's training with the guys he's training with City Kickboxing and stuff like that, that's not his main gym, but he's training with them. And he's talked about how training with Volkanovski was like groundbreaking to him, and like it's the hardest he's ever trained. He got pushed to levels he didn't know he had, and it's like that's what you want to hear from someone who's hungry to be in the UFC. He's not just here to be in the UFC. He's trying to.
He wants to turn this opportunity into a career if possible. If Dana lets him.
If Dana lets him.
If Dana lets him. But that was a fun fight as well.
Yeah.
Before that fight, we had Alonzo Menifield, and this is one of the ones that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
During the moment of silence, as somebody who had a last-minute opponent, Fabio Cherant. So
UFC debut. Very
UFC
tough
debut.
call to, man. What a fucking
props to both of them.
first fight, man.
Yeah, props to both of them for taking that last-minute fight.
Yeah. What was his last fight in?
Who? Cherant?
Cherant.
Ooh, I'm not sure. But I will say that when Alonzo Menifield got him up against a cage.
Yeah.
And just because he was kind of getting caught in a guillotine, seemed like he was in a little bit of danger, and just the way that when he took him down right into side control, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, let go.
Super clean,
Oh, not going to let
in
go?
no danger.
Yeah. He had a fight a month ago in LFA, so hopefully he gets another shot, man. That's a tough... Hopefully, I mean, usually they get another shot in those situations, The UFC usually likes when someone takes a short notice fight like that to make their debut against a fucking... Menifield's scary, man. He's scary. And
he is.
The OSP choke's awesome. The Von Flue, right? But I just felt for Cherant, man. Just when they were making the announcements and stuff, he's just standing there, just like fucking so disappointed. It's like I feel so bad for him, man, because he's like, this is my opportunity. I'm gonna, so it just fucking sucks to see that. That's tough, man.
Everybody comes into the UFC, and I think they've said it before, where like you don't really have fighters that come in that don't think that they can win a title eventually.
Yeah. Otherwise, why are you doing it? You know?
Yeah, this guy's coming in 7-1, and he's probably thinking like, I'm on fire right now. You know, Menifield
got the call for the
my
UFC.
next victim.
Fuck.
Won't even know what hit him. And he's down in that position. He's like, all right, I'm in no danger. I can get out of this. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Feeling a little woozy here. You know, and then all of a sudden I got a tap.
Yeah.
You know, and when Joe's like, yeah, that pressure from his lats. And look at those lats.
I know.
And I'm just like,
and look at him.
just look
Joe
at him.
just salivating.
But man, just good performance. What you would expect to see from a veteran like Menifield in this type of matchup. So I'm glad he got a fight. Glad he got paid. And I'm glad that
definitely
Fabio
got his win
Cherant
bonus.
got his foot in the door.
He didn't get a performance bonus, right? No. Stipe, Woodley, Luque. I mean, Francis, Woodley, Luque, and O'Malley got him. You know, out of all the fights, it was one of them, and it was a first-round finish, so it was fun. You love to see it.
Not much to say about that fight. It was pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Not much to really. Yeah, you can't really take much from it either. Menifield, we know, is scary. He looks scary in this one.
Only. Let me see here. Is that 1 minute and 11 seconds into round 1? Is that what that says? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same amount of time that it took Ngannou to knock out JDS, actually. So.
Over.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so
absolutely.
The next one. Nurmagomedov versus Jared Gooden. I'm just going Minop, dude.
Yeah, I might as well.
Abu Bakar.
Yeah.
Minop's so much easier.
Yeah, Minop, might as well. That's what everybody calls him. Why not? Yeah.
DC says all his friends call him Minop, so I was like, yeah, I'll call him Minop.
Hey, we're friends. What's up?
Exactly. We're friends, man.
He's training in the backyard, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting him to come in here, and I was like, Nurmagomedov, let's see this grappling clinic right quick. Dude, he looks so good standing, though.
I know. And
part of it is
part of it is also probably Gooden probably trained zero striking leading up to this fight, other than just like to get the kinks out and stuff. He was probably only working get-ups and takedown defense for this whole fight. Did he even shoot for one takedown?
He did.
He did? He shot?
He shot for one takedown, and it was stuffed.
You're right.
But,
you're right.
And I could see Gooden keeping his hands down, just anticipating Nurmagomedov's shot. And when Nurmagomedov did go for that shot and he was stuffed, it was perfect positioning of his hands to be able to get the underhooks really quickly and be able to stand him back up.
Yeah, and Gooden, last loss was Joban, right? So
yeah, and that was a close fight.
Yeah,
that was a close fight. Pretty boy Joban there. Some people think that he lost. It was a really close fight. Yeah,
very close fight. That was a fun fight. You feel for him right now. He's 0-2. Clearly, he was brought in by the UFC to lose this fight, if we're being honest. The promotion of the Dagestani guys doesn't end with Khabib retiring.
Yep.
He's 16-3 now, yeah. And at 170, he doesn't have to worry about Makhachev getting in the way or anything like that. They're trying to pull that takeover. Remember when he first came in, everybody was like, oh, the Dagestani takeover. Yep. Yeah, not quite. And then now here we are.
Actually, man, we got our African fighters that are coming through right now. 3 champions.
Yeah.
That's
the African takeover now.
That's the African takeover now. Yeah, Dagestanis are like, what happened?
What about him?
Yeah.
but
all the attention.
They're waiting in the wings, honestly. Makhachev, Nurmagomedov. I don't think he's Dagestani, but he trains with all those guys. Maybe he is Dagestani, is light heavyweight. We've been riding him super hard. He got subbed by Paul Craig with a triangle.
We've been riding him?
Yeah, why can't I think of his name?
How hard have we been riding
his footwork is insane. He had the saga with Kutalaba.
Strikanov?
No. God damn it.
Ankalaev.
Ankalaev. That's the boy.
Yeah. Ankalaev.
All respect. Forgot your name. All respect. But all those guys waiting in the wings.
No longer going to be our friend. We can't even remember his name.
But you're looking at potential. I mean, obviously this is so early to say, especially with Nurmagomedov, right? But with Makhachev, very clearly can be a champion. Everybody thinks it's possible. He has the skill set. That's lightweight. Now we're looking at a potential welterweight who can take over. And I do think Ankalaev is at least going to fight for the belt eventually at light heavyweight. So it just took a little bit longer than expected, you know. Khabib had to carry the whole team on his back for a while, and now that he's gone, they're moving in.
Yeah, I mean, he just cast such a shadow, though.
Yeah.
You know, when you consider the pound-for-pound best fighter in the argument for one of the greatest ever, it's kind of hard for anybody to focus on anybody else from
He was
that team.
He was in the corner, right?
Yeah, he was in the corner. We
That's
had
gotta feel good, man.
3 Nurmagomedovs in that one picture with Javier Mendez at the end.
Yeah.
But,
man.
dude, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
You love to see it.
So this next fight, Bukaskas versus Oleksiejczuk.
Oleksiejczuk. What a fucking dogfight this was, man. This is a fucking banger, dude.
Yeah, this was almost as good as both of their names. It was just... dude, it was a fun fight to watch for sure.
Dude, just style-wise, man. Because it's like...
Hey, both of them in insane shape.
Insane cardio from both of them.
Oh, my God.
It's that type of fight where they
pressure.
They visually look like they're exhausted, but their output hasn't changed whatsoever, you know?
It was insane. And, like, going into the third round...
This should have won fight of the night, honestly.
I thought Oleksiejczuk, it's got to slow down this round because it's just nonstop in-his-face pressure the entire time. Nope.
And he said, nope. He said, look at my body right now. This is a cardio machine.
Oh, his body's a temple. I would have loved to watch. I would have loved to watch Bukaskas.
Yeah.
Try to use his range a little more. And the more I thought about it, I was like,
small cage.
You saw him trying to use his range a little bit, but with the small cage, and then Oleksiejczuk just constantly in his face.
Dude.
And I don't mean like just walking him down.
Yeah.
It was just like quick stepping in so that he didn't have an opportunity. You know, Bukaskas would start, circling to his right. And then as soon as he circled to his left a little bit, Oleksiejczuk would meet him with the right hook real quick.
Yeah. It was
over and over again.
It was cutting off and looping punches for Oleksiejczuk, and it was anytime there was space, heavy straight shots from Bukaskas, Bukaskas, right? How you pronounce it?
Bukaskas.
Yeah, every time there was room, he would crack him with those straight shots, and it was like, man, and it's what are the judges seeing, because one's effective on the outside, one's effective on the inside, and chasing him down.
How'd you have it? I don't know if you're actually scoring it or not while you're watching, but
I think they ended up having the right call. What did they end up doing? It was a split, right?
I believe it was split. Yeah. When I was looking at it, and again, I wasn't watching this like trying to score it as I was going. At the end, though, I just figured Bukaskas probably did enough because it seemed like he had the more damaging shots.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Because both of them were getting their shots off. But Oleksiejczuk definitely controlled the pace of the fight. Definitely continued moving forward. Had Bukaskas there on his heels the entire time. So
he really did, and that's where, like we just talked about, right? It's what do you like better? Because I love an effective outside fighter. Someone who's able to keep distance and land his big shots when he needs to. Oleksiejczuk ended up having him really hurt with the body shot at one point. Just what a fucking fun fight, man. This should have won fight of the night. I get it maybe that they wanted to send Woodley with an extra $50,000 into his retirement maybe. But man, this was a banger. Oleksiejczuk hasn't had a boring fight yet.
Do you think Oleksiejczuk noticed that he hurt Bukaskas to the body in that third round?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either because for me, it was pretty obvious because you do see him wince, hands drop right away. He hunches over a bit and starts backing up, and I was like, oh, dude, you got him hurt. This is your opportunity. Just go right back to the body. But he kind of just walked over there and was very calculated with his shots. And, I was like, man, his reaction didn't seem like he noticed.
I don't think he noticed. And it was obvious, right? Commentary calls it out, so it makes it even easier. And we're watching it on a screen, right, where we're analyzing what's happening. And
exactly.
Right? But in the fire, who knows how clear it is. And I thought he did a pretty good job of disguising it. You could tell it happened, right? But
again, that's us watching it on TV in the perfect angle.
Yeah. I was impressed with his composure after it. I'm excited to watch both these guys, man. Yeah, great fight, man.
Don't ask me how to spell either of their names, but for sure,
I know there's a Z in there with the somewhere
and a J, but if next time I see Oleksiejczuk, Bukaskas on the card, I'm gonna make a note to pay extra attention to their fight because both of them, I think, Bukaskas walked out with, I guess you could say, somewhat of a moral victory, because he put up a really good fight.
Yeah.
But Oleksiejczuk again, dude, that cardio is just insane.
Yeah, the cardio held up, man. That guy's an animal, absolute animal.
Fight before that, not necessarily swinging and banging, but you had Omar Morales.
It was a good technical fight.
Shane Young. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was great.
I would not say it was great. But it was a fun fight. It was, it was a good fight.
I thought it was battle for the underhooks.
Yeah, a little bit.
Battle for the underhooks. A lot of clinching.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the shots that were going in and out of the clinch.
Yeah.
Some dirty boxing, some elbows coming out of the clinch. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would have liked to see Morales use his range a little bit more too.
He started kind of mixing it up a little bit towards the end of the fight. I think it was just
towards the end of the fight.
It was a long feeling out process kind of for both of them. The whole first round was a lot of range finding and reads and stuff like that.
Because I remember coming out of the first round and thinking, like, you know what, they're feeling each other out. DC also pointed out sometimes when you have two technical strikers like that, there's a longer feeling out process. And I was like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Second round comes out. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
I was like, no, wait. We're feeling each other out again.
Well, he made the mistake, man. DC jinxed it because he said, usually, first minute and a half, that's the feeling out process, and then they'll start cracking. And then it was like, wait, we're at the minute and a half part right now. And then nothing was happening. And it was like, DC, you motherfucker. You fucking...
But yeah, again, battle for the underhooks. Not the best fight, not the worst fight. Before that, you had Azaitar versus, how do you pronounce his name? Barriault?
Barriault.
I was close. Barriault.
Yeah.
What you
and
think
they kept
of this
saying,
fight?
all of a sudden it's Azaitar now and not Azaitar. Let's get some
All right,
consistency here,
And that's what I say all the time. And, if you throw John Anik in the mix, all of a sudden you get a totally different pronunciation.
Well, he was the one that was saying Azaitar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whenever John Anik is in there, when you throw him in the mix,
here we go.
You get different pronunciations.
Yeah.
You get Azaitar, and then you get a P3 fucking promo right after that.
And you're like, who?
And King Kong versus, whoever.
Godzilla. Bro, put some respect on Godzilla. What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
I'm tuning into that fight.
Over
That's
here.
what I'm tuning into on Wednesday.
Yeah.
The one fight Richie Casual definitely want to catch.
Yeah.
We don't even have to tell him about that when he has a date down and everything. What'd you think of this fight, though?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rich the Casual. This was a rock'em sock'em slobber knocker to open a card.
What do you think about Godzilla versus Kong?
No, I thought you were going to go back to this one.
I think I'm excited just to answer that.
Hey, on a quick tangent, though, have you noticed how in the commercials they keep showing this shot of Godzilla shooting his beam at him, right? And he's got his...
hold on. Will, I apologize. I don't watch any trailers or any commercials for anything that I want to watch because they put way too much stuff in the trailer. So please don't describe this to me.
This is true. I already brought it up, though.
And when Kong goes on top and
the beam...
Okay, headphones are coming down. I hope everything goes great.
I'll put the thumbs up when you're safe, Rich. So...
But
So he took him off already. But so he's coming at him, right, with his like axe thing that he has. And he shoots the beam at it, and he's blocking it, right, as he's running towards Godzilla. Cool. That's awesome. Then he jumps up, and he lifts it up over his head like this, and he's going to come down on him. As he does that, he's jumping up, and the beam just stays glued to his axe, and it's like over his head now, and he's just shooting over his head where it's like stuck on the axe, and he's blocking it still. It's like, bro, just fucking look down again, and you'll hit him right in the chest, you know? And it just as he's coming down with it like this, it's like following it, and it's like, and it's in super slow motion, so it's like so obvious, but whatever. That's the tangent. But this fight, you're good, Rich.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, but this fight, it was this was a bar brawl of a fight where both guys were exhausted, but were still swinging as hard as they could, which wasn't enough to do any real damage by the end of the fight because they were so exhausted. But they were swinging and banging.
Dude, I need to go back and watch this one. So I think I told you, well, yesterday I was in and out.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to watch all the different fights in different parts.
Yeah.
And I'm like having to piece everything together. And I'm pretty sure, like, I want to say I watched maybe the first round of this at some point. And
okay.
As I'm going through and I'm setting up the card here with the notes, I'm like, wait, what happened in this fight? I don't remember. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch this fight because your boy over here likes watching bar brawls.
It was a slobber knocker.
So slobber knocker.
Yeah, but it was a zero gas tank brawl. It was a good fight though. It was fun. It was a great fight to start the whole card, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I would. It's a fun one. Not the most technical fight, but definitely fun.
It doesn't have to be the most technical to be entertaining. You know what I
doesn't
mean? That's
always
Francis
have to
Ngannou.
be. Yeah. Rest in peace.
All right, so that was the 10 fights. Time for Will's wisdom, and I just got one question for you, Will. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
With Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Since his victory, has he handled this the best way possible? If you're Aljo, put yourself in Aljo's shoes.
Yeah.
What do you do?
You don't bring up anything that could be a potential excuse. And you just don't talk about the fight anymore, and you talk about the rematch. You just stop talking about what happened, and you just focus on what's coming up. That's all you do. He has valid points. He's talking about this now. He's talking about the slippery mats, stuff like that. It's a bad look. I get why he's doing it. It's a bad look. The slippery mat's a valid thing, honestly. It's not an excuse for what happened. But it's not like he's talking about something that doesn't exist. I don't think it's relevant whatsoever. But I've heard now more than a few fighters talk about how slippery the mats have been lately, and it might be something that they're doing sanitation-wise. I don't really know in between fights. But don't bring it up when you're talking about the fight because all anybody is going to hear is an excuse, and it's a shitty excuse. Oh, he was tripping me because the mat was slippery. That's why I couldn't finish my takedowns, but he was landing his trips. Then fucking try some trips then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the only American champion right now.
Hey.
Holding it down, won by DQ.
Holding it down for the good old US of A.
Won the belt by DQ, and he's the only American champion.
That's who's representing us right now.
Hey, and I love the guy. I'm a huge Aljo fan, and
I love Aljo too.
I don't know how I would act in the spotlight that he's in and the pressure that he's under right now, and going through something that controversial and shit like that. I'd probably act even worse, dude. People, you know what I mean? I'd say the dumbest shit ever, most likely, if I was in his position. It's easy to hold someone in that position to a very high standard of scrutiny, right? Where we're sitting at home, and I'm watching him do interviews, and I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? But the reality is, man, he's a human being who just went through some shit that most people will never go through anything like it. So, I mean,
Man, I agree with you to a certain extent. Because I like Aljo, too. I predicted Aljo to win this fight. He seems like a good dude. But, Will, I would like to think that if I'm ever in that position, right, which I'll never be, let's be honest. But let's say if I ever was, and I had you with me, I would hope that you'd be like, hey, Ramiro, let me talk to you real quick. Whenever you say this stuff, it sounds like an excuse. Like, how about next time you just say, hey, I know there's a lot of shit up in the air right now, but I can't wait to prove that this is my belt in the rematch.
And that's the bummer of, I don't know if they've made up yet, but there's been some issues with him and Matt Serra now. Matt Serra said he's done cornering because he felt like he was slighted by Aljo and wasn't there for the championship fight. And that's the type of guy you want around you when you have gone through something like this, you know? Matt Serra has been through his controversies and crazy moments in his career that it's a good person to have by your side in situations like this. And I hope they've reconciled and everything like that. I don't think Matt Serra is somebody who's like hold a grudge or anything. And I think Aljo's a good guy, so I don't know. It's just it's just unfortunate, you know. He's just under so much scrutiny, and I like the guy.
Yep. All right, man. That's all I got. Do you have anything else? We got a card coming up next week.
Yeah, we got a great card, man, and I think it's the first. I think it's the first one that we're gonna see the Venom gear on. You know?
Oh, is it already?
I think so. It's supposed to start in April. I don't know if it's the first event in April, but I think this is the first one. We've seen some sneak peeks, you know? We've seen some sneak peeks. I'm excited. Can't be worse than Reebok.
Ah, man. Let's knock on wood here. But we got Mr. Darren
Knock on
Till
wood here.
versus Marvin Vittori.
Yeah.
They've been chit-chatting back and forth on social media already here for a while. Which I don't know how anybody would want to go to war with Darren Till on social media because this guy is hilarious.
Yeah, seriously. It's,
But, is there any...
it's a battle of Europe, man. Arnold Allen's back against Sadiq Youssef. Great fight.
That's going to be a good fight.
If I'm not mistaken, Sadiq Youssef, I'm not going to say much about it, but I believe he has a questionable coach that I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm very happy for Arnold Allen's opportunity to beat the shit out of him.
Smiling Sam Alvey going to be on the card as well, along with Mr. Miley Cyrus, Julian Marquez.
Man, that's a quick turnaround.
Very quick turnaround.
I like the guy.
Anything to impress his girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything to impress his girl. Nina Ansaroff back with extra mom power this time versus one of the other mommist fighters on the card, Mackenzie. Yes, Mackenzie Dern.
Mackenzie Dern. Ah, man, it's a great card. You know, we got Jim Miller on there.
You got Platinum Mike Perry, done fighting in bars, now fighting in the octagon. D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, dude, I love watching this guy fight.
He's the boy.
I love watching this guy fight. I still feel like he took his last fight.
Yeah, I don't think he lost that fight in the slightest.
Yeah, so should be a fun card. We'll check it out. Of course, we'll record after, just like we do for all our other cards. And, man, that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
That's all I got. Nope. Thanks.
No? Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Were you thanking me?
No, thanks everybody for listening.
Oh, I thought you were thanking me for giving you my bad picks on the last video. Richard Casual, are we missing anything?
No, we nailed everything. Tune in to Godzilla vs. Kong on the 31st, HBO Max.
Yeah. Hey, I hope we're getting paid for that or something. Did want to give a shout out to Ian Christensen on one of the MMA talk communities on Facebook as well, just talking about he hopes that whether it was Stipe or Francis at one, that they knock John Jones out because he has the same disdain for John Jones as I do. So, hey, props to Ian Christensen there.
How can you not, you know?
How can you not? All right, so that's all I got, Will. I guess I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for listening to Story of the Fight, everybody.